talk about it, Boulder.
We don't have to do anything. We're going to outwork them. We're going to out-recruit them. We're going to out-scout them.
So the Buffs have been seeing an influx of commitments, 4 of them in the month of July, and a 5th just dropped. Buffs picked up a huge commitment. I think this is probably a game changer for them from 4-star linebacker Rodney Colton. Let's dive into Rodney. Look at the measurables, watch a little film, and also talk about the other 2 pickups that's happened over the last couple of days here on the Prime Time for College Football. Think I'm pulling up. Your boy Jay. Colorado has been starting to see some steam pick up for them on the recruiting trail. And don't get it twisted. I think there's more to come, while at the same time, the best thing to understand around Colorado when it comes to recruiting is they ain't only doing the high school thing. They're going to spend a ton of time in the transfer portal. So we'll talk about that on the back end, what the class looks like. But first, let's dive into the latest pickup, Rodney Colton. All right, y'all not blind. Y'all see this. Rodney Colton, 6'1", 205-pound linebacker, was committed at one point to South Carolina, decommitted, and consensus composite 4-star athlete, top 250 player in the country, considered a top 20 linebacker in high school ball. And this one is a big one because when you look at the offer sheet, this is where, I think Colorado jumps out big. He's got all the big names on there. And of course, out of the big 3, you had Florida State, Ole Miss, and Penn State there. Then you had Georgia Tech, UCLA, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. He was committed there, decommitted. Florida, Texas A&M, Missouri, Ohio State, basically all the big programs. Lots of Big 12 ones too. You got West Virginia on that list, right? So Cincinnati, Bama's on there. Basically everybody who's somebody was coming after this kid. And once you see the tape, you understand why. He's a dog. And this is what Prime is looking for. He talks about this quite often. They want dudes that can come in and play as freshmen. They want dudes that are ready to potentially play immediately. They're not trying to go after these dudes that don't have a chance of playing. They don't want guys that they only have to develop. They want guys that have the idea that there's potentially going to be able to play immediately. And so it's pretty exciting to see that the Buffs are starting to land and get some additional pieces. Now, they've added some more pieces this month. We'll talk about the other 2 in a moment, but just the film here, man, he launches himself at people. And he's playing out there in Georgia, so he's going up against a lot of big-time talent. And so there's nothing about his game that shouldn't get you excited as a Buffs fan, because he's someone that's going to show up and show out going forward. Prime likes a certain type. He has an archetype. And Coach Hart built a great relationship with Rodney, which is why the Buffs had a chance to even land him. A lot of people have been asking me or whatnot around Colorado and recruiting. It's been quiet, but I always remind everybody, Colorado starts off slow in the recruiting side. They pick up. They usually get themselves and get their hands on a big-time 5-star player. That's the one that gets everybody excited. But they have a good job of picking up on some other players. But then they go into the portal and they build the roster that way too. They like guys with experience. But I think that Rodney's one that's got a chance to come in and play, especially with the age and attrition going down in Colorado. He may be one that can ball out very soon. So let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts on Rodney Colton. How you feeling about him coming up there to Boulder? Talk to me. Also, as I mentioned, the Buffs saw some growth in the class over the last, few days, actually. Now with 9 total commits, you got a Carson Crawford who came in on the 10th, which was a huge pickup, as well as a DeMonte Timms. So Carson Crawford's another linebacker that will be joining Kobe Johnson as well as Rodney Colton. Nice size on him, 6'3", about 215. I like what I see here. Out of Texas, too. So he's a Texas boy. which, of course, Prime likes to make sure he gets players from down there as well as in Florida, 2 places he, of course, spends a lot of time. And then you got DeMonte Timms, a safety, 6-foot safety, roughly 200-pounder out of Florida. So Florida, as well as Texas, our players are pulling after. He's also a 3-star consensus composite across the board with a lot of talent, with a lot of potential there. Again, the Buffs aren't opposed to getting players that need a little bit of seasoning or a little bit of development. But, like I said, Prime pointed that out. This staff is going after players if they can play immediately. And if this is one that they think can work, who am I to question or judge? Now, again, don't be surprised when this portal opens in December, how active the Buffs are based upon what they try to figure out, what they have and what they don't have. So, want to take some minutes to talk about these players. The Buffs class, though, starting to fill out 9 players total. You've got, mainly defensive setup. I expect probably a quarterback or an additional and more offensive players to probably populate over the next as the season goes on. The big thing with Colorado has been, especially with the Buffaloes this year and Deion Sanders, is they're going to have to show a lot of people. There's been a lot of negative recruiting, especially the fact that his boys are gone and people think he's going to bail and go. And he keeps reminding everybody, he said it at the Big 12 Media Days. He says it at the media in Colorado. He reminds everybody he loves it there. He enjoys it. They've been taking care of him. He loves the atmosphere. He loves all of that. So I don't see a reason to feel like he's going to just roll out. But people do have their doubts. People have their concerns and their fears, and I get it. But understand, Prime, they're recruiting to be there. They're recruiting to bring people into Boulder, Colorado, and so far, they're seeing success. So we'll see what it looks like on the next few days. I'll drop another video. I'm going to talk about what happened in Big 12 Media Days. There's some cool, interesting stuff that, Prime, of course, laid out. We'll dive into that as well as diving into the season. So time to break it down. We'll chop it up with all of y'all soon.